You think you know about the World Wide Web? You think you've seen what's out there? I'm going to suggest to you, you've only seen the tip of the iceberg. In fact, in this video, we're going to take a look at the rest of the berg, all the way down to the Wild Wild West portion of all of this area that we call the dark web. First of all, the part that you're familiar with, that's the indexed portion. In other words, indexed meaning you could find it in your favorite search engine. That's about 5% of the web. Indexed. The other 95% is the part that's not indexed. You won't find it in your favorite search engine. So what are these components then? Well, this first piece is called the surface web. Again, this is where you go to your favorite search engine, so you can go to Google. This is where you're going to find your social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all those kinds of sites. The kinds of things that you're normally used to when you think of the web. It's all of that stuff. That's the surface web. Now, the stuff below the surface. What is that? Well, there's two real components here. One is called the deep web, and that's what makes up the majority of this 95%. And it's basically a bunch of things that there's not necessarily a great deal. Some of it may be sensitive, but in general, it's just that you can't find it. You don't know where it is. A lot of times it's password protected content. So it may be medical documents. It may be legal documents. It may be private forums. It could be a lot of different things like that. So nothing necessarily nefarious. It's just not something that's generally meant for the overall public. And that makes up the majority of the deep web that you just don't see. But then there's this other part down here. This is what is known as the dark web. And the dark web not only is not indexed, but it has a lot of different kind of content in it. So for instance, this is a place where it's not easy to discover or even easy to get to necessarily. But on the dark web is where you're going to find a hangout for people who are whistleblowers, people who are reporting information that maybe they need anonymity. Sometimes journalists will go to the dark web in order to make reports, because some places there are political activists and parts of the world where free speech is not necessarily appreciated. So they need some level of anonymity, and the dark web helps preserve some of that anonymity. Some of the other things that happen, though, on the other side of this are there are marketplaces, dark web marketplaces, where different types of contraband may be sold, could be illegal drugs or other things like that. Also, hackers like to hang out in places like this, and they will exchange hacks. They'll exchange exploits, malware, credentials, stolen credentials.